Welcome back. Today we're gonna do just like a fun sort of discussion type video, and I always, as you guys know, do my videos based on the comments and like what you guys actually suggest. And so this one has come up quite a bit over the span of my videos in the last almost a year since I did that first Miss Universe predictions, and this one has come up a lot. I've kind of addressed it a little bit, and that is whether there is favoritism at Miss Universe. First, I better say that I lost one of my veneers on this side, and so if you see that there's a tooth missing, you are not wrong. The shortest answer about whether there is favoritism at Miss Universe my brother is watching Lily right now, and he's opening a thing of pretzels. The short answer about whether there's favoritism at Miss Universe, the shortest answer is yes, there is favoritism at Miss Universe. There's different levels of it. It's not always obvious, but it is absolutely there. The girls don't really feel it that much, but you do a little bit for sure. And I've talked about this in a different video, in that there's favoritism when it comes to sponsors and doing like sponsored videos, sponsored things for the social media. So when I say that, it's, say if there's a sponsor who is, well, Chi Hair Care for example, they might really love Miss USA, Miss Philippines, Miss Venezuela, and Miss Canada or something. So they would request to have those girls for whatever they're filming, whether it's a commercial, whether it's something for YouTube, something for Instagram. They can actually request to have those specific girls, and then I think Miss Universe makes the decision of, okay, yeah, we agree, we'll send ththose girls your way. They contact the chaperones who was that a fart? Oh my, was that you or her? Oh my god. Layton has something to say. Okay, when it comes to sponsors and favoritism with the girls, I experienced Miss Universe in the Philippines, so I can only speak from my own experience of first-hand experience and then what people tell me. But from my personal experience, Miss Philippines, when we were in the Philippines with a lot of Filipino sponsors, she was in like every single possible thing. She was wanted for all the sponsor videos, all of basically everything. Philippines was always the #1 girl, and it makes sense. We were in the Philippines, there's a lot of Filipino sponsors, so it makes sense. Miss USA was also very popular, a lot of USA sponsors. So honestly, it's a business as well, so it all makes sense, and we understand that. I think it's just hard because coming from a country like Canada, Canada is not big with pageants, so Canada was not really high in demand. Other girls who wouldn't be as in high demand could be like New Zealand or something, because a country like New Zealand just isn't big with pageants, and that's just how it is. So when it comes to favoritism with the sponsors, it's absolutely there, and it's hard because as a contestant, you have no control over it. It doesn't matter how smart you are, how beautiful you are, how well spoken you are. That's just the way it is. And so yeah, it kind of sucks as a contestant, but it's what the sponsors want, and that's that. They do try to even it out, I would say, in the sense of if Miss Philippines is always getting chosen for everything, or Miss Vietnam, Miss Thailand, whoever it is, I think that they do try to pull different girls when they know they haven't been chosen for stuff, whether that's to shoot with the photographers that Miss Universe hires, or to do just like Instagram stuff. I think that they consciously pull girls who they know they haven't chosen for a bunch of things, just to make it a bit more fair, give us all more exposure. But then there's other things that kind of equalize it, in that if there is a big red carpet event where they have like media people, that gives a bit more fair exposure, where the media do ask most girls questions. But once again, you do see the favoritism where people want to talk to Miss Colombia, Miss Mexico, Miss Venezuela, Miss USA, Miss Thailand. They do have the favoritism because, I mean, it makes sense, because the people who are there, the news stations who are there, are often countries and people who care about the pageant world, and they often come from countries who are big pageant countries, like the Latin American countries, like the Asian countries. So then you get places like Europe. A lot of European countries don't really care about pageants, besides France. I feel like France is one of the only big ones, but like Miss Iceland, Miss Denmark, Miss Netherlands, they just don't have as big of a pageant base, and so those representatives aren't there. So it's countries like Canada and a lot of European countries, I feel like, who don't get as much exposure, attention, but that's just how it is. I don't know. We have some guests who are gonna come on the show. It's a talk show. We've made this the Hillbilly Talk Show because I'm a hillbilly. Everyone, this is my brother Leighton. You may have seen him in our vlog from Montana.
Here I am. I think what you're talking about, like with the favoritism aspect, I can relate to that like in sports a bit. Like I was never like on a whole lot of good hockey teams, but there's like a lot of politics involved in sports as well. Like for example, if somebody's dad is like wealthy or like is willing to put up like a lot of money for the team, then that person's gonna be like picked to be on the team just because of their father.
Right.
So to a certain extent, I guess that's kind of the same in the pageant world too. Like a girl might be selected because of like the connections that she has.
Right.
So, and say like if a country has a decent candidate, like a good girl, and they haven't won in like a very long time, I feel like that almost like works in their favor too.
For sure.
Right? Like,
there's actually somebody commented this, that France, the year that Iris won in 2016, apparently, apparently there was like a France.
I'll be French.
A newspaper in France, they said something about the fact that, this is just a rumor, I don't know if this is true, but they said to the Miss Universe organization that they knew Iris had what it took to win, and so basically, if they didn't crown her, that they weren't going to send a candidate to Miss Universe anymore. So like, I think that's just a rumor, but like...
It's quite the ultimatum.
It's quite the ultimatum, but like France had won, I don't even know the last year France had won, and there's a lot of European queens have, maybe it was like, has France ever won? I don't even know. Maybe it was the last time that someone from Europe had won. So I'm also not really, I need to look more, but definitely things like that are going to give favoritism more. So like right now, Miss Universe might even highlight some of like the European or the Latin American girls more because the current Miss Philippines is from an Asian country. Hopefully they don't do that, but I feel like there's just certain things that you just see in terms of, excuse me, in terms of the favoritism, and you can just feel it, and it's it's just super obvious sometimes.
2 cents, I don't know if it really...
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and I think that you're right, and that there's favoritism with everything, and that's just part of life. Like I feel like it's impossible almost to be 100% neutral. And I mean, I know a lot of you who follow me are from the Philippines, and so you automatically have this like internal thing that you want to cheer for the person from your country. So like a lot of people from the Philippines are going to cheer for Miss Philippines, and even from Canada, like as much as I'm going to be as neutral as possible, I want to see the Canadian girl do well, because it's just like in your right, you just like,
it's like in your DNA. Like being from Saskatchewan, for example, like it's just ingrained in your culture and like this group, and like having a sense of belonging.
And in terms of favoritism by like chaperones or like Lou Sierra, who's the walk coach at Miss Universe, you don't see it. I feel like they're probably pretty neutral, like you don't see it a lot from them, but the biggest thing is like the whole who's chosen for the videos and all that. In terms of favoritism for placing, I feel like USA is basically guaranteed to place. The only time I can even think of in the last 10 years is Alyssa Campanella, Miss USA 2011. She did not place in the semifinals. I don't know why. I've actually met her. She's super nice. USA almost always places, and
you also have to think about like how many people watch and like population size. There's 340 million people in the US, so like you think just based on numbers alone that there's going to be a better candidate coming out of the US as opposed to like Canada, for example. There's only like 36 million people in Canada.
That's true.
So
like the level of relax actually raises a good point. I've honestly never thought about it like that. Leighton raised such a good point that is something that leads to the favoritism without it being about favoritism, and it really is about who is the best candidate. So for example, what he said, Miss USA. If you win Miss USA, that is huge. Because first of all, you had to win your state pageant. At a competition like Miss California, the Miss California pageant is more competitive than Miss Universe Canada. And the winner of Miss Universe Canada goes to Miss Universe. The winner of Miss California goes to Miss USA. And California doesn't win year after year at Miss USA. So is what I feel like Leighton is making me think of is that the girl who wins Miss USA is so well prepared, has so much because she had to jump through so many more hoops than someone, say, who won Miss Universe Canada or Miss New Zealand or Miss Denmark, some of those smaller pageants. So USA, Venezuela, Philippines, Thailand, even Australia. Australia, I feel like they have quite a rigorous program and process. Those girls have had to do so much more training, preparation. They've been exposed to more media. They've done more photo shoots, video shoots, runway. They've done so much more. So when they get to Miss Universe, they are natural favorites. They are natural standouts. They are, in a way, favorites, and there's favoritism towards them because they're just that much more prepared. And when he gave the sport analogy, that would be like somebody who has done more personal training, who has done more training for that sport. Of course they're going to be more prepared. They're going to be trained better because they've been trained better for what they're preparing for. They've been groomed better. So in saying that, I feel like there is a natural favoritism because some of these girls are just more prepared. And so that's why you do see countries like Venezuela placing year after year, Philippines placing all the time, because Venezuela didn't place my year and that was a whole ordeal. But there are certain countries you see placing over and over and over again because they have bigger population sizes, so there's basically more people to choose from, essentially, and there's just more training, there's more all the things. And so even what's popular in certain countries, if pageants were bigger in Canada, we might have seen more, because there's so many incredible girls here. There's so many girls who have so much to offer, from the intelligence that they offer to their physical beauty. There's so much here. It's just that pageants aren't a big deal, so girls aren't entering them. Moral of the story here is that there is favoritism at Miss Universe. There is favoritism overall, but a lot of it is just, it is what it is. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's sponsor related. It could have to do with how well these girls are trained, so they show up as natural favorites. There's so many things involved. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments what you think about the favoritism. If you think it's obvious, is it obvious as an audience member that there is favoritism to certain delegates? I really thought the year that Demi Lee won in 2017 that there was pretty obvious favoritism. She showed up in a lot of like the sponsor videos, so to me that was kind of obvious as a spectator. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments if you have noticed the favoritism, if it stands out on the Miss Universe social media and all of that stuff in the show, etc. So if you guys want to hear more from me, of course, as always, you can subscribe. If you want to see my videos, you'll see more appearances from Leighton and Lily, and I think that's it. Until next time.